what do you see yourself doing, let's say 5 years from now, 3 years from now? Do you see yourself working more towards the songwriting again? Are you going to try to, build up the labs and just work on that going forward? What do you see yourself doing?
Well, I am an entrepreneur, so I'm going to always have more than one stream of income coming in. I just think that is the way if you're trying to, accomplish and attain wealth. And so I will always be a music tech leader. I think that is a part of something that we just have to be on the forefront of, especially as people of color. In addition to that, I will also still be building my music licensing and publishing company. But I'll be running that agency under my own legal practice because I'm starting to go to law school in fall of 2020. And so I've been studying law and legal, obviously, for a while because I've been reading contracts since I was 17. And that is kind of like that's my next life, is becoming an attorney, an entertainment attorney in the industry. And I'm definitely aiming to be one of the top, entertainment attorneys in the country, especially African American.
So you're going to even add another hat after we talked about all the other hats. You got another one coming on.
Yeah, why not? Oprah's doing it. I mean, it's all about balance. It's all about delegating, having a team, and being a great leader. And I was fortunate enough to work in corporate America for 9 years. While I was a songwriter, while I traveled, I still managed to keep a full-time job. Once I became a mother and saw that, I needed to make sure I had stable income coming in. I got my degree in journalism, in writing from Texas Southern University. And I used that to learn how to become a great journalist. And I did a lot of entertainment news and even worked for a hard news station that, focused on local news. I managed a local news station in Houston. But I did all of that while I was a mother, while I was a wife, while I was a songwriter. I still maintained a full-time job to have additional revenue coming in. And I just think that is the way. And the great thing about, being an entrepreneur is that you can have that flexibility. Before then, when I was working a 9 to 5, I didn't know that was what was going to prepare me to understand how to balance. And now that I'm an entrepreneur, I realize the value in, working at 9 to 5, understanding about discipline and setting your goals, and, having benchmarks and projections and all that stuff. Because now as an entrepreneur, I know how to put together a projection report. I know how to hire well, to where I have, staff that is being retained and not, walking out and leaving me here stranded. I know how to lead a team. I know how to conduct meetings properly. I know how to negotiate. And so those were all skills that were acquired during my time working at Radio One, in the Houston and in Atlanta markets. So yeah, I always have multiple streams of income.
Yeah, I think that's good for people to hear, the aspect of taking the knowledge that you are getting from your 9 to 5. If you're working a 9 to 5 right now, and you're not doing the music full time, if you can just take the skills and apply them even to something musically, that's a big part of like your growth. Because me myself, is if the audience has heard the first episode, I worked at, actually I don't know if I mentioned it, but I worked at State Farm for a year coming out of college before I started to do Omari full time. And the skills I took from that, I still more or less, they're definitely not all of them, but I still more or less use some of the skills that I learned from there. So just all about continuous growth. I like it. So the final question that we asked to wrap up, what is the one biggest thing you wish you knew when you first got started on your journey to working full time in the music business?
You know what? From a creative standpoint, I do wish that I would have understood more of how to work my catalog, because I didn't have a manager at the time. I really haven't had a manager now that I think about it. I've kind of just, I can only say the favor of God, because I didn't really have anyone that was kind of like steering my career with each step. I kind of was just, I just never gave up. But working your catalog, I've learned is key in really sustaining income instead of like waiting for your publisher to do it for you, but really having the know-how and the team, if it's not just you, but, you know, hiring someone like a manager to contribute to really getting yourself out there and getting your material and your projects out, because there are so many people that are working on independent projects that may not have big budgets like the larger movies and networks do, but they're willing to pay for quality material. And back in the day, the budgets were so much bigger that that's something that I just wish I would have known compared to knowing now. Like now, 20 years later, I'm like, oh, you know, like, I just wish I could have known this when I was in my late teens, you know, early 20s, because I would have been able to, you know, do so much more with the catalog and working it, because you don't really realize that, you know, how valuable your catalog is. And if I may be frank with you on, you know, how I look at publishing is like real estate. And I don't know if you ever heard that before, but that's just kind of like the analogy that I like to use when I'm explaining to students and music creators when I do workshops. Publishing is like real estate, is like land, you know, but let's just say, for instance, your publishing house, sitting on that land is where all your music is housed. And each of those songs are like rooms, and each room costs. It has a value on it. You know what I'm saying? And so the great thing about it is like you can continue to lease out those rooms. Just like you lease out a house, you can lease out those rooms, which are your songs, time and time and time and time again, and make so much more money. But you have to actively work the catalog, and you have to let people know, you know, that catalog is available. In addition to, does it meet the need of what the music licensing supervisor or the movie production studio is looking for? And so, that's just one of the key things that I think a lot of songwriters and producers don't take advantage of, is just really understanding how valuable the catalog is. I mean, even producers, not all the time is a song needed. It could just be a track, you know? And so you may have tons and tons of tracks, but if they're just sitting in your computer and you're not actively working those records, those tracks, I mean, there's a lot of money that's on each of those tracks that you would probably never see, because they're just sitting, you know, no one's actually leasing them out. And so, that's probably one of the biggest things that I wish I would have known compared to now.
Right. I think more so in the last 5 years, 10 years, producers have started to get that mindset of the leasing it out and, you know, having it create more and more revenue. I think now, as you were mentioning even earlier a little bit with Fiverr and other things, some songwriters are starting to see it as that real estate model where, you know, they can get more and more as they continue to just build the catalog, just like somebody who has a lot of real estate and they just rely on all the income to come in. So, I like the analogy.
And there are huge opportunities, so many more opportunities that we just didn't have back in the day. I mean, like we were barely having AOL You Got Mail in 2000, you know, so for it to be 2019 and now you have all these different platforms and opportunities and technology that is cutting edge and allowing people to be able to sustain, some income in addition to whatever full-time job or whatever studio gigs or whatever live performance gigs they have, whatever shows their tour, whatever tours and merchandise money they're making. I mean, you just have so many other ways to make money now compared to, you know, how it was back in the day. So, you know, I encourage all the listeners, you know, who are listening, definitely do your research and take advantage of the opportunities. If you're a music creator, you know, if you're a songwriter and you have the ability to promote and put yourself out there. I mean, and then we got social media, right? That's just free promo. So it's so awesome where we are now compared to how it was back in the day. Yeah,
I think musicians, a lot of them are still navigating the field of change, but if they just look up, they'll see that it's bright going forward. Some stuff has changed, but I think the adaptability of it, if you can adapt and thrive, it'll look bright.
Absolutely.
So let the people know where they can find you.
Sure. You can find me on my official website at TamiLaTrell.com. That's TamiLaTrell. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, as well as YouTube at the same handle, Tami LaTrell, TamiLaTrell.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being with us today and dropping some knowledge on Music Money University. Loved having you on the show.
Thank you for having me, Omari. I appreciate it.
Guys, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Music Money University. If you know of any other artists, musicians, or entrepreneurs who are trying to figure out their music career or business, share this podcast with them and click the subscribe button wherever you're listening so you'll know when more episodes are out. Support for Music Money University and the following message comes from Omari Music Promotion. If you make great music that not enough people hear, get started today with Omari Music Promotion. We have genuine Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud promotion packages. There are tens of thousands of songs released every day. And if you want to stand a chance to be properly heard among all that competition, you need the right promotion behind your music. We've promoted for thousands of big and small artists and can help your music out too. Just visit omarimc.com or click the link in our show notes to get started today. That's OMARIMC.com.